Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. I think when Naoya Inoue versus Paul Butler was first announced, a lot of people thought, can Butler survive for 3 rounds or even a round? And the general consensus tended to be, well, yeah, he probably can if he just runs, if he grabs and holds, if he fights an entirely negative fight. And that's exactly what happened, because I don't think he really came close to winning a round, but he lasted into the 11th before getting knocked out, essentially with a body punch. It's a combination from Inoue. Butler was on the ropes. I think it was the body punch that did him. And I think he was counted out in the 11th round, about just over a minute in. Now, the fight starts, and there isn't really a lot to talk about, because Butler was, like I say, extremely negative. Very, very high guard, using his feet like he was in a sprint or a relay or whatever. I mean, it was kind of dull to watch, to be honest with you, and I hate saying that because none of this was Inoue's fault, but Butler was skirting around the ring, tons and tons of lateral movement, high hands. Occasionally, when Inoue got close, he'd just lower the arms a little bit because he was expecting the body punch, with good cause. But the moment Inoue was in range, he'd let his punches go, both hands up and down. The left hook to the body was the prevalent punch in most of the combinations, I think, if I can remember rightly. I did try not to fall asleep during this fight, and I managed it, but only just. But it was so obvious that Butler was totally out of his depth. And Joe Tessitore and Tim Bradley, who were the commentators on the stream that I watched, were saying, you know, Butler isn't here to win, he's here to go the distance. And you can sort of see that was the case. I mean, a few rounds in, I'm thinking, okay, now if Butler wants to actually win this fight, he's got to go to work. In the 3rd round, by the way, Butler was trapped in a corner, and Inoue just let his hands go. I mean, he was bang, 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 and, you know, standing right in front of the guy, no attempt to worry about defence, didn't need to, but was battering Butler. And even the punches taken on the forearms and the biceps must have hurt Butler, because there's such an immense amount of power for this little guy, Inoue. But Butler carried on. Lots of feints from Butler, trying to offset Inoue, trying to make him think about, you know, where's the crack in the door? How am I going to get in here? If Inoue had just walked in without bothering to even look at what Butler was doing and just completely ignored the feints, he would have probably landed punches and Butler would have gone back into his shell again. But when there was distance between them, and Butler insisted defensively on keeping, you know, on staying out of punching range and keeping the distance between them, when he was doing that, he wasn't even thinking about moving in. It was, like I say, it was all feints and trying to offset Inoue without any real intent about, you know, what am I going to do? Okay, if I'm forcing him back and making him reset, which was rare, because Inoue maybe took a couple of seconds here and there to have a look at what Butler was doing. But like I say, if he decided to walk in straight in a straight line, all right, that's not the way to fight. But did Butler have the power to trouble him? At no point was Inoue troubled, even on the rare occasions when Butler did land punches. In the 6th round, let me see now, was it the 6th? I think it was the 7th, actually. Inoue did a little chicken dance in the ring, you know, as if to say, look, you want to fight or what? It was almost like he was bored, and he was like, oh, I've got to entertain the fans somehow. Butler, still with his hands high, didn't bite. In the 7th round, I think maybe that was in the 6th round, the little chicken dance. In the 8th round, was it? Shades of Roy Jones, a little flashback. Inoue puts his hands behind his back and does the old chicken routine. And he's just having fun in there, really. And he knows he's got nothing in front of him, nothing that's really going to trouble him, because that nothing in front of him doesn't want to win, or doesn't seem to want to win. But in rounds 6, 7, and 8, Butler did start to let a few punches go, maybe a few combinations, and he did clip Inoue with a couple of punches. I mean, a couple of head punches. Butler, I mean, you can argue, is he fringe world class? Is he? I mean, he had a belt until he lost it tonight or this morning in UK times. He lost it to Inoue. Inoue now has all 4 belts and is the undisputed bantamweight champion. First, am I right in saying the first from an Asian country ever? Certainly the first Japanese. But Butler he's a decent fighter, but he just he was a step behind. He was a punch behind. He was, in every respect, against Inoue. Inoue just essentially toyed with him. And all Butler could do was just cover himself up and try and survive. And he did survive. Now, whenever Butler was on the ropes or in the corner, Inoue would pounce, as you would expect. And Butler would just cover up and then skid off the ropes and then just continue his little sprints, you know. It was almost like he was doing drills, actually. And Inoue would just tear after him, maybe wait, maybe he'd get bored of running. Perhaps he felt a little bit out of breath. I'm only kidding, he didn't. But perhaps he thought, oh, you know, what is this, a fight or a race? I don't know. So he'd stop, and then Butler would, perhaps he was allowing Butler to get just a little bit brave and stop running and throw a few punches. But it wasn't happening. And then in the 11th round, there was the coup de grace, you know, and it was a case of, I think, Butler doing his usual routine. He was by the ropes. Inoue stepped in with a right-hand body punch, and then he went to the head and he fired a combination, but there was also a left hook to the body, which I think was the one that finished Butler off. And that was about just after a minute in, I think, or a minute into the 11th round. But it was a right hand to the body. That started the avalanche, and then there was a combination, and then a left hook to the body that finished Butler. And Butler didn't look like he was going to get up. He rolled onto his back, and he was essentially counted out. So, all right, I suppose, do you call this a victory for Butler, having lasted that long? I don't. I'd rather see Butler go hell for leather. Kind of like, you know, Callum Johnson did against Beterbiev, and he got knocked out in the 4th round, but at least he had Beterbiev on the floor, you know. And this, to me, isn't the way to win a fight. He didn't even come close to nicking rounds, Butler. But you've got to give Inoue credit. Inoue just beat him up, completely dominated him, and now moves on to super bantamweight, where Stephen Fulton is waiting. That'd be a good fight. I like Fulton, good fighter, nice boxer. Very, very intelligent. And of course, let's not forget in this fight that Butler was the taller man and had the longer reach, I think, but certainly the taller man. But he didn't try to use any of that stuff. It was just so defensive-minded, so negative. Look, there's a saying, you've got to dare to be great. And Paul Butler didn't do that against Inoue. And Joe Gallagher, I don't know what the tactics were. If they had any texts, I don't know what the tactics were. But yeah. Rather an anticlimax, but Naoya Inoue remains one of the sport's best fighters without question. Still extremely heavy hands, good chin, great skills, every punch in the book. Yeah. Interesting to see what he does at Super Bantam. What did you think of the fight? If you saw it, leave your comments below, and I will, of course, endeavour to reply. Thank you for your time, and yeah, we'll speak again soon. Like the video if you liked it, and hit the subscribe button if you do. I'd appreciate that. Thanks very much. Bye for now.